Well, it, it was 2000, the year 2000.
Yeah.
I, my father sexually abused me on New Year's Day that year. My mother had left my father because he was abusive,
Right.
and so it was just me and my three younger siblings at the time living with him. So I was more like how I was the bigger one. I was more like doing everything, cooking for them, washing for them, because he wasn't used to be always home. So I would have learned to cook on those things at a very young age.
Right.
And then that fateful night,
Yes.
I was watching a television show and I dropped asleep in front of the television. And when I awoke, I woke with a, like I woke like a straight like with a force.
Right.
And then when I wake up, like a struggle. And when I wake up, I saw the person over me was my father. So I was shocked. I tried fighting him, but he had pushed a nasty substance in my mouth and told me to hush my mouth. So I tried fighting him off, but he was so strong. So he he forced himself on me and threatened to kill me and my mother if I did speak out. So for a little while, I was frightened, kind of traumatized to talk. So I did stop talking for a while, and I used to just cry.
Yes.
And everybody used to be wondering why, but I was so afraid to speak out of what my experience was.
Yes.
Because remember, he had threatened to kill me. So for a while, when I went to school, the teachers were saying, Candace, you're okay? Why you not doing the work? I know you can do it. Do the work. So I would have just be there and crying, and then they would have tried to tell me, but I was afraid to talk. And then eventually, when I started to speak, it was the same thing came and happened to me again. A young fella I knew from in the village, he climbed through a space in the house, a window in the house, and he came and he held me down, and I become pregnant. I was frightened at first to speak because he had threatened me. So I couldn't say anything at the time because I didn't used to talk. I stopped speaking for a while, so I was just silent, and I used to just, all the friends that I had, I stopped talking to them and I started keeping to myself. And then eventually I started speaking because the same thing came and happened to me, and I get fed up. And I say, by that time, my father had picked up to a woman and she was living with us. So I came out and I told she that my father told she what he was doing to me. I thought that she would have helped me, but she didn't. I tried to tell the woman, my stepmother, well, that was my stepmother at the time, she was living with us. I tried to tell her what I was going through, and she said she would talk to him and she would help me. That's what she said.
Right.
So I was expecting something to come out of it. But after when my father came home, he told him what I said, everything that I told her, and he said, well, I'm sorry, and he wouldn't do it again and thing. So he said I would try to work with her because I realized she changed. She's not she normal self how she used to be. So she said in return, she said that how the boy discharging her and she could be pregnant. So if you keep sharing and she keep telling people what she tell me today, you could be in trouble. So two of them decided to put me out.
Um, no, you left. You go by your grandmother. What kind of feeling did you have for your father and your stepmother at that time?
No, I I grew up loving my father, despite he was abusive. So that's why my mother had left. But I did love him dearly, but I did get a hate for him. I did love him, but I hate him. I don't know if that makes sense. When I see him, it's like I'm happy to see him, and then if he come close to me, like if I'm angry. So I didn't. It was real mixed emotions. Sometimes I would like hate him, and the next time I would say, hating wrong, because something in my heart is always tell me I have to try to forget it. And then something up in my head will say, you have to keep away, hate him. And he had a time I did plan, I said, I think I would take his life. Because I did premeditating to take his life. Because I couldn't understand how he could just do me something like that. I think about it and a day I went to do it. But I couldn't do it because I was trembling. My whole body did shut down. Well, it had, which my grandmother used to have gasoline. So I had to take up a full of little chubby bottle with gasoline. And a full of chubby bottle with gasoline. And I said, I'm going to light him on fire, and if that ain't working, I'm going to stab him to death. And I got frightened, and I couldn't put out the act. I trembled, and then I threw the knife and the bottle of gasoline in the side, and I left the house. I cried the whole time, and I walked back to wish that my grandmother was with me. But deep down inside, something tell me down in my heart, girl, don't do that. You have. At that time I was pregnant too, because I was about 4 months pregnant when I was thinking to do that. And the thing telling me, don't do that. You're going to live to see. You're going to live to see. You have to see a child grow big. Because if I could remember clearly, the option that they gave me was abortion. When they hear my situation, family members and stuff. But I told them I wouldn't abort. I will go on with it. So I went on with the pregnancy, and I didn't go through with the act. Forget about it. I listened to the spirit talking to me and tell me, you have to see a child grow big. This is not the end of the world then. A soft little voice in the heart, and I listened to it. And I thank God today that I did not do that. Because now it's funny, because I'm watching my son now, and he's the same age he is now that I made him. So I'm still thankful that day I didn't do that.
Yeah, what support did you get at that time?
Well, that time, nobody wasn't really talking to me. Everybody was just gossiping. They wouldn't say anything to me. They would just see me crying, and then everybody used to distance themselves from me. Who used to be around, everybody who heard, distance themselves. Nobody wasn't really talking. So mostly I used to just be by myself, quiet.
Yeah.
Then my grandmother was the one to tell me stop crying. One day things will get better. If they get better now, it will get better when you grow older. Remember, you have a child, and you can't be crying when you're pregnant and stuff. So she used to kind of motivate me. It don't matter where you grew up, who your parents birthed you from. Once you know who you is and who you love yourself, that's what counts.
Yes.
So it don't matter where you come from, what happened to you, is once you love yourself. So that's how I had started the book. So I am writing about the abuse, and I promised myself, if I have to talk about it, I will talk about it, but I wouldn't go around making it known.
Right.
I just focusing on the recovery part.